Hi everyone, welcome to my analysis compilation 17. We've got some lovely footage from a VFO A129 Pro, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all my viewers who support the channel by buying a dashcam through the affiliate links. Use the promo code AshleyNeil to save yourself an extra 5%, fit it to your car, and then write it off. Well, don't do the last bit, but do send me the footage. I don't think my viewer could have done much there. It's another one of those final destination moments where you're destined to have a crash. Although my viewer's trusty 5 Series estate wasn't damaged much because of the age of it and the repair bill, it was written off. And when you've got a good reliable car like this, it's impossible to replace. So what exactly did happen with this corner? Well, simply the other driver misread it. The hedges are high, so it may have been impossible to spot my viewer coming from this direction, but I think the other driver thought the road continued ahead, obviously to my viewer's left, and they approached the corner a little too fast. Even though we've got dry conditions, the other driver couldn't make the corner successfully. Even though we've got some shaky footage, it's an interesting clip, this one. The police are chasing a car up ahead and my viewer's stuck right in the middle of it. The police gave up the chase and prosecuted my viewer for riding on the pavement. Only joking. Seeing clips like this makes me think people do these things on purpose. This car could have easily stopped, in my opinion. It seems to ease off the brakes before it hits the white one emerging. And here's the view from the left side. But if we go back to the original side and slow the footage right down, you can see the Toyota driver come off the brake. The front lifts just before the collision. That's poor. Let's have a look at this clip first. I thought my viewer handled that well. But let's dig a little deeper. So we can all see the vehicle that overtakes recklessly. Why did they choose to overtake at this point though? Well, for me, it's a classic A-pillar blind spot moment. I've obviously no idea when they actually looked up the road, but with the shape of the corner and where they were positioned in relation to my viewer, it's got to be the case. Too many people sit bolted in the seat. Although there was some panicked reaction from what I think was the passenger, I think my viewer and in fact the red car come from the other way had this covered. I'm summarising this from the smooth application of the brake. There was no sudden dip from my viewer's car. And the red car from the opposite direction has done a similar job to my viewer. They've positioned to the left side of their lane. And the reduction in speed combined with this positioning made this a non-event. Things wouldn't have been as calm if this happened a second or two later, maybe a few was restricted. Potentially being in someone's A-pillar blind spot when you're cycling on a left-hand bend is just as dangerous. How do you think vision was affected in this clip? Although my viewer was definitely not at fault, I think they could have done a lot more. Let's go back and I'll explain what I'm talking about. My viewer's doing near enough 60 miles an hour, and wherever junctions cross, meet or intersect, there's added risk. The police or insurance companies would definitely side with my viewer, but even being in the right, people can still die. We must do better. At this point, nothing's visible, but my viewer's speed hasn't changed. But this proves, with you already have seen the clip, how quickly things can change. It is possible to work out even with this fleeting glance that my viewer and the black car that they eventually collide with are arriving at the same point at the same time, so someone needs to alter their speed to not make that happen. It's absolutely feasible that the black car emerging has already taken a look at the camper turning in, and while they were doing this, my viewer wasn't visible, and now they're looking left, and they see a clear road. They now look right and again see nothing. Please now just ask yourself the question, what do you do in situations like this? My viewer read the script nicely with this. Shame the person behind didn't.
And it was originated by the plastics industry, so I've heard. They've got us around. Have you heard about the company? Oh no.
Did the lack of visibility of the horses and riders play a part in this? For this clip we're watching the taxi driver in front and the cycle lane to the left hand side. So the taxi driver wishes to turn left, and what any motorist needs to make sure is that the cyclists who wish to proceed ahead are given priority. Then the taxi driver starts but decides not to finish, and this happens. What was that cyclist doing? We need another look at this. Without taking into account for signalling, it takes at least 6 seconds for the taxi driver to then be hit. But just remember, however incompetent any cyclist may be, the taxi driver is still going to be held accountable. As we saw in the previous clip, being seen doesn't account for the incompetent. But remember, risk increases at junctions. Just be ready to slow instead of steering. Some footage from Liverpool city centre, obviously an area I know well. I think my viewer does a good job here. They're not able to slow and stop, and they use the steering as a last resort. This was a difficult one because there weren't many obvious clues. Where do you think the risk is coming from here? There was absolutely no reason why the young lad on the voice scooter pulled out there. Did my viewer accidentally have a left signal on? There was no audio on the clip. Can you come up with any further explanation on this one? In most of my videos, I'm always trying to help people on reducing risk. But remember, there's always that chance that another road user will just be stupid. Most definitely a head in your hands moment, that one. Keep safe everyone. I'll see you soon.